Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about a study tip in chapter 4. Now, chapter 4 it's an interesting chapter that is going to be very helpful for you from a testing perspective. So, remember, I want to help you pass the exam, and the way you're going to pass the exam is by understanding, knowing, memorizing, getting the concepts in the textbook. Not every chapter has the same sort of importance when it comes to how it's represented on the test. Chapter 4 has a fair bit of information, and ACE thinks it's a very important area that you need to know as a trainer. And I would not disagree with them. So I just want to show you a tip, because I had a student ask me. I have students ask me all the time, how do I study? How do I memorize? How do I navigate through a particular chapter? And I just wanted to show you this tip because it works well in chapter 4. Not every chapter has the same sort of headings and outlines like chapter 4, but it works really well in this particular chapter. So let's go ahead and have a look on the digital format here. And I'm just going to show you real quick what we're talking about and the basic tip that I want you to consider. And it comes down to the outline opportunities that you have in chapter 4. And when I say outline, what I'm talking about here is right here. So again, not every chapter is going to provide such an easy navigation of the materials in the chapter. It just so happens that in this case, the chapter itself, effective communication, goal setting, teaching techniques, allows for you to look at these heading titles, right? Stages of change, stages of the client personal trainer relationship, excuse me, not stages of change, and breaks it down into these 4 subheadings. Okay. Again, not every chapter does it. And that's why I'm going through it, because in this particular chapter, I was trying to help a student to understand an easy, relatively easy navigation technique, right? A study strategy to deal with this information in total. And all I'm going to recommend that you do with this, I'm not going to delve deep into it. I've done this on other videos where basically I speak to pretty much each of those subheadings inside the chapter. But in this case, I want to kind of give you a sort of 30,000-foot view of how I would set this up. Now, again, this is based on an assumption that you have, a month, 2 months or more to study. If you don't have that much time to study for the exam, please don't do all of the in-depth precision level studying techniques like I'm showing here. You just don't have enough time. In that case, you really want to spend more time focusing on, excuse me, high priority chapters, and then kind of moving through each chapter, focusing on tables, charts, things like that. And so in this case, though, I'm assuming you have a fair amount of time to study. So what I do, paper, pen, pencil, markers, do yourself a big favor, get into the habit, especially when you're watching these videos, get into the habit of getting your materials out so that you can kind of work along with me on this. You got your mouse, you can put this on pause as we go through this as needed. So first thing I do, and this is in chapter 4, makes this real easy. Chapter 4 is basically broken down into the stages of the client personal trainer relationship. There are 4 basic stages. My recommendation, now I'm not saying that everybody does this, because for the most part, folks just move straight through the chapters. I would highly recommend you stop for a second and learn the 4 heading titles before you delve into the subheadings of the rapport stage. Just memorize, and the way I do this is very simple. I just write it down. Rapport, follow along with me. Rapport stage, rapport, got it. Investigation, planning, and action. Stop. Okay, don't look at it and don't look at your paper. What are the 4 stages of the relationship that you have with a client personal trainer? What are they? Rapport, investigation, planning, action. Now that you got those 4, that's going to be easy for you to answer a question. So when ACE asks you a question, the following scenario, client, blah, 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 blah. The following scenario is indicative of the what stage of the client personal trainer relationship. Voila. You're going to know it, right? Because you're going to know what the 4 stages are. And of course, now you're going to go into each of these subheadings. And now at that point, all you're going to do is, again, my recommendation, 1 sheet of paper for each of these. Now I've done the rapport, investigation, planning, action. Take the rapport stage. Get yourself 1 pad. This is how it works. You go through, by the way, you go through a lot of paper, folks. You go through a lot of paper if you're going to do this correctly. You got to rewrite the material, rewrite it. What I'm saying is that from the very get-go, one of the strategies, one of the techniques that can be very helpful is to set yourself up an outline first and start it like that. Okay, so right from there, rapport stage, I write rapport stage at the top. And I say, well, let me get rid of this. Let me clear this. And now what's the first one? Cultural competence. And I'm going to kind of read through and study cultural competence. First impressions, verbal, nonverbal communication. Write it out. Write it out. Professional boundaries. Dealing with difficult clients, and that's the rapport stage. Now, my recommendation, once again, is don't go into studying cultural competence. Just write them down. Now go into the investigation stage and do the same. You see what I'm doing? Is I'm using this this setup the way they have it to kind of start from a general perspective, and then I can break it down into smaller and smaller bits of information. So now I'm going to write investigation stage, gathering information, active listening, motivational interviewing, responding to difficult disclosures. Stop, go to the next one, planning stage, action stage. Now I can go back. Okay. Now I can go back and go into rapport stage, cultural competence. And here I am. Rapport stage. Okay, I memorized it. By the way, what are they? What are the 4? Rapport, investigation, planning, action. You get it? Now I can start working in my subheadings. Cultural competence. Remember, I wrote them down. First impressions. I can write down now. The read, write, recite method is very helpful for navigating and understanding and memorizing the information, verbal, nonverbal communication. Now I can read through it. I'm not going to go any deeper into this. Now, there are other videos that I've done that will help you and basically guide you into what do you do when you're in here. Okay. Okay. There are techniques that you should be using. As soon as you see bullet points, ding, 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 the red light goes off. Ding, 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 ding. That's what you should be honing in on. Okay. But again, I don't want to get into that. I just wanted to kind of show you one of the techniques again that I was asked. A great question, because when all is said and done, you don't want to get frustrated when you're studying, because as soon as you get frustrated and you're like, oh man, I just wasted 45 minutes going through this, and now I got to go back and reread. Frustration is like, okay, that's the worst thing that can happen. You don't want to get frustrated studying. This is one of the ways that will help you, because now you're actually in a very strategic planning mode. And if that works for your learning style, then there you go. Look, when all is said and done, we want you to pass the exam. This is one of the ways that's going to help you to do that. So I want you to keep in mind, there are many different techniques and strategies. This is just one of them. If it clicks for you, let us know in the comments section. Remember, if you want to learn more about how to really get in depth with our exam prep, just click on the link below that we have listed there for you. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell as well. If you have not gone to our private Facebook group, go check that out. Over 10,000 folks in there right now, trying to pretty much do the same thing that you are trying to do, I hope, which is to pass your ACE exam. So please keep that in mind as you navigate through the rest of these videos. You can help us by asking us more questions, and giving us some comments as well. So thanks for checking out this particular video. We will see you next week. Take care.